So gratitude is not just something that helps if you focus on yourself, but if other people receive it, it can really make a big difference. I think especially nowadays, I talked in I think my last solo episode about the power of acknowledgement and making people feel seen for their unique contributions and what you value about them. And I think gratitude is just an extension of that. And it is something that is a very, very simple and accessible thing to do, but we often move too fast to do it, or sometimes actually feels quite vulnerable to express meaningful gratitude, but it's something that can go a long way. Life's too short for bad coffee or bad leadership. I'm Lindsay Yellen, executive leadership coach, coffee enthusiast, and former ad VP turned believer in leading from a place of possibility. On Unfiltered Leadership, we skip the buzzwords and dig into the messy, human, and powerful side of leadership with real conversations and practical takeaways. Now grab your mug. Let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Unfiltered Leadership. I want to first start by wishing everybody a very happy Thanksgiving week for those that are celebrating. This is going to be a very quick little espresso shot, let's say, of an episode today, just to share a few thoughts that maybe will resonate with some of you in this holiday week, perhaps not. My hope is to expand your thinking around gratitude and see how we can bring it out of this week in a form that can have greater impact in those in your life, those that you lead. But before I get into that, I did want to just acknowledge that holiday weeks can be a lot. Maybe you're hosting, maybe family's coming in, maybe you're traveling with kids, dealing with traveling uncertainty as we have these days. Perhaps you thought your holidays were going to look one way and they're going to look quite different. Maybe they are looking to be something so special that you've been looking forward to for a very long time. So it can often come with a lot of feelings, whether expectations or changes that we're navigating. And I also want to name and offer that they can sometimes come with grief. I feel like in this season, probably part of just getting older, but I feel like I've been facing loss after loss in people in my life that I care about. Not that I've lost them, but witnessing their losses. I've had multiple people in the last week lose grandparents, people in my community losing spouses, reflecting on difficult moments and grief that just come up around the holidays. I think it's important with holidays, with all the joy and tradition and gathering and sweetness. There's always a balance of grief of someone not being there that you want to be there, grief of the holiday not being what you thought it would be, not being able to be with people you want to be with, missing someone. Maybe it's the first holiday without someone. There are a lot of different forms that it can take. And so I just want to create a moment and permission to acknowledge that. And if you're feeling a certain way about things, I just invite you to examine that maybe there's something that you're grieving in the process. For me, this holiday season is really different. I'm nearing the end of my pregnancy, and so my holidays look different. I'm not committing to things or hosting things, not really planning many things. And there's something really nice about that, but there's also something to grieve about that, of not having the same type of traditionally looking holidays as I have in the past. So I want to pass on, also give you permission that my therapist gave me this week, that it's okay to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to honor yourself in the holidays, whether it's what you say yes to, what you say no to, showing up for things, not showing up for things, setting different boundaries, being fully present, maybe not being able to be fully present. All of it is okay. So it's good to commit and do things for family, but it's also really, really important to commit and do things for yourself. So just a few nuggets just to chew on there that may be useful for someone as they have been for me, and something that to think about as we continue for the next month and a half. But I want to talk a little bit about gratitude. And of course, Thanksgiving is a holiday where we gather and we talk a lot about what we're grateful for, of course, right? It's a tradition of the holidays. And I was reflecting, and often we spend our time, like talking what we're thankful for, going around the table and kind of naming things. Gratitude practices are proven to be incredibly powerful. And those of you that do it, I'm sure you know or have dabbled in it or want to do it, and sit down and journal what you're grateful for. It's really a great way to stay mindful, to stay present, to stay focused on the right things, quote unquote, right things. But I want to talk about taking that gratitude and expanding that, where we don't just keep it to ourselves, or maybe we don't just name things at a table once a year, but how do we make it more of an outward practice? So I know in leadership, I think I read a stat or something that there's like this big gratitude gap that like only about 15% of people say that they regularly receive thanks from their managers or expressions of gratitude. But yet 80% of employees say they'd be willing to work harder for a boss that they felt more appreciated by. And when gratitude regularly shows up, people feel more positive about their job contributions or less stressed. Overall, it just improves their sense of well-being. So gratitude is not just something that helps if you focus on yourself, but if other people receive it, it can really make a big difference. I think especially nowadays, I talked in I think my last solo episode about the power of acknowledgement in making people feel seen for their unique contributions and what you value about them. And I think gratitude is just an extension of that. And it is something that is a very, very simple and accessible thing to do. But we often move too fast to do it, or sometimes actually feels quite vulnerable to express meaningful gratitude, but it's something that can go along. There's been a couple practices that I have given to clients that have values around gratitude or kindness or want to talk about contribution and giving back. And what we've worked through together that they've done is they'll pick 5 to 10 people who really have made a really big difference in their life or mean a lot to them in this moment or doing a lot for them, whether it's previous managers or current direct reports or a leader at their company or a mentor. Maybe it's a best friend or an uncle or a cousin, a neighbor, list can go on, right? And writing them a letter just to put into writing what they mean to them, the impact that they've had, and letting them know that they think about them. And I can promise you that the impact of taking the time to write one short letter and sharing it is so meaningful and something that they'll probably hold on to for the rest of their lives. And I hear it. I hear the impact when these clients go and write these letters, how they feel, what it does for them. And then when they send it out, how they feel, and then what they hear back. And too often we move through the world and we're touching a lot of lives and having positive impact, but we don't always get to see it reflected back. And so it is truly probably one of the greatest gifts that we can give somebody for them to have the chance while they're living to witness and receive the impact they've had on others, how other people perceive them. I know you know what it feels like when someone stops and says, "Thank you so much for doing this for me," or "I wanted you to know you inspired me. This really influenced me," or "You mean a lot to me when you do this." And what that does for you, it changes the way you feel about yourself. It kind of stops us in our tracks and reminds us of what's really important in the world, in our lives, and what we're doing it all for. So taking the time to pay that forward or to start that perhaps tradition or conversation is such a gift. It is way more meaningful than a Starbucks gift card or really anything, probably any type of gift that we might default to. A really beautifully written letter expressing gratitude and meaning and impact will go so far. So I want to challenge you with that. And whether it's work related, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's just one person, can you take the gratitude and the thankfulness from this week and expand that to a outward physical message and letter that you send to somebody and allow them to hear in your words? And I do emphasize the letter part because there's something really special about receiving a physical letter, a handwritten letter, especially of a message like that. And it's a rarity in this world. So it's something really beautiful. It's quite a treat. I actually was conducting a workshop today with Ronnie Dickerson Stewart, and we were talking about reflecting on memorable leaders that that had made a really impact on our lives. And she challenged the leaders in that group. She said, "I want you to go and whether you send a quick email or a text or however you reach out, just to let them know that their name came up in a room around really memorable, powerful leaders. I challenge you to do that. Just reach out, say, 'Hi, today I was asked this question. I thought about you. I talked about you. Thank you.'" And that even in itself, a little note of, "I was thinking about you today," or "I remember when you did this for me." It is such a powerful gift. So as you sit here and think about all that you're grateful for this week and celebrate that and go around the table, perhaps you can go and buy a little container of cards and write a few to send out in the next few weeks for the holidays and see what that begins, how that makes you feel, and what catalyst that is for what that reignites with those people in your life, how it makes them feel. And perhaps it'll also inspire them to pay it forward and do it for others. I'd love to hear if you have any other type of gratitude practices that are outward to communicate your gratitude and the impact others have on you. I'd love to hear that. And also to all the managers and leaders out there, as you're sitting here, and I know the holiday season can be so busy and your teams are probably quite stressed with everything going on. If you're able to bring a bit more presence and intention to show a little more gratitude, say thank you in some new ways, it can make a big difference and go a long way. I hope you have a really beautiful and safe holiday season or holiday week, Thanksgiving, whatever that looks like for you. I hope you create the space to celebrate and relax and be present, but also grieve if needed to and honor your needs and hopefully eat a little extra turkey if that's what you enjoy. So thanks for popping in for this little espresso shot on gratitude and expressing it outwardly as much as you reflect inwardly. And I will talk to you soon. I hope you have lots of moments of cozy mugs as you have cozying up with mugs of coffee and reflection over the next week. See you soon.